So when we look at our snowfall forecast, yeah, northern Ontario, this is all as a result of a clipper system that's coming in. This is the same one that's bringing snowfall today to southern Manitoba and to Thunder Bay of Ontario. Then it swings down across the south. And then the snowfall totals that we've seen so far this winter for these 4 select cities stand at 204 in Windsor, Hamilton at 101, and Toronto at 81, Ottawa 126, where Winterlude continues until the 16th, by the way. We're going to add another, again, 5 centimeters of snow on top of that by the time we get to the end of the week. But then we look at Boston. Boston now has broken the top 10 of all-time snow, which is hard to believe. I mean, with as much as going on in Boston, we think, wow, and it is historic, but it's nothing compared to, well, it's not nothing, but it is not quite as high as obviously the number 1 and number 2 spots, where there were a couple of rough years there in Boston. Then we get into the cold here at minus 12. Back into minus 16, wind chills here in the minus mid-20s. So the coldest day, yeah, this is the coldest day of the next 7 days, right? We have some snow on the way for southern Ontario and even down toward Woodstock near London. Yeah, we've got about 5 centimeters or less of snow expected with this clipper system. There will be slightly higher totals to the north, maybe more in the range of 5 to 10, but across southern Ontario, it's likely to be more so about 5 centimeters, and that'll move into Ottawa and Montreal as well, where Winterlude continues in the nation's capital. Toronto through the GTA and Hamilton, we're looking at less than 5 centimeters of snow from the clipper. But the cold is one of the bigger stories. The cold is going to be settling in here. Now, what happens with these clipper systems as they approach, at least temporarily, it brings up the temperatures a little bit, and then behind it we get that shot of extreme cold. That'll be the case with this low too. You can see all of those purples and dark blues starting to filter in down behind the low pressure system. Today's wind chills, they're not bad. Minus 8 is what it feels like down toward Hamilton. St. Catharines in the minus low teens. Toronto by Thursday, the daytime highs, minus 5, minus 12, some snow on Saturday, and then we start to get into some real cold here with wind chills in the minus mid-20s. Some snowfall for Hamilton too. Between that though, as that cool down begins, keep in mind Lake Ontario is not entirely frozen over yet, so we still have some available moisture for lake effect. But this is synoptic snow or system snow that's coming in. It's a clipper system from the west. We have what's called the warm sector here, and again, all things being relative, it is a little bit warmer with this low as it comes through, and then the cold air really comes behind this blue line, behind the cold front. We will see 5 to 10 centimeters further north of Barrie, south of that line toward the GTA. Hamilton, less than 5 centimeters of snow. Is that we still are getting, again, an influx of some slightly milder air as the system approaches, but once it comes in behind, we're starting to tap into some extreme cold that's in place in the purples here across northern Ontario, northern Manitoba, and really eastern Canada is going to be, and central and eastern Canada are dealing with some extreme temperatures the next week at least into March. It's going to be pretty cold. Minus 8 wind chill in Toronto this afternoon. It'll feel like minus 12 in Hamilton. Oh, but notice the cold is coming in, and the coldest day of this 7-day period is right here on Sunday with wind chills in the minus mid-20s. For Hamilton, a little bit of snow to start the weekend as well. Very cute indeed. We have some snow in the forecast. Northern Ontario 5 to 10. Across southern Ontario and along the 401 corridor, expecting to see likely less than 5 centimeters of snow with the clipper system that's coming through. So a quick shot of snow, and then we start to see some colder temperatures setting in by the weekend. Snowfall amounts this winter in Ontario. We've selected 4 locations. And we're now we've broken, Boston has broken the top 10 of all-time snow. The whole state of Massachusetts is under an emergency. But look at this. This was a bad spell right here. These couple of years were bad for Boston. This is going to bring, like I said, less than 5. And then we start to get into the cold right about this period here in time for the weekend. We've got minus 16 for Sunday, now minus 8 on Monday with some brighter skies, some snow in the forecast for the weekend too. And for Hamilton, same situation. Saturday is the snowy day, and then we start to really clear it out nicely, albeit colder. Twice as cold, in fact, on Sunday. We have some snow on Wednesday. Cloudy conditions do persist, though, and then we start to really get into that cold. Look at the wind chills here in the minus 20s, and then we start to see that cold returning again on Sunday. Well, although across southern Ontario, through the 401 corridor, including Ottawa, Montreal, and Toronto and Windsor, less than 5 centimeters of snow expected with this. It's not until you get to Barrie and North Orillia and up to northern Ontario that we have the better chance of picking up 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. And it's already cold in Timmins back toward Geraldton. Thunder Bay getting snowfall today. And really the story is that the Clipper system is coming in, and when we see this type of scenario, typically it brings up the temperatures for a bit, and then the real cold sets in behind the low pressure system. So over the coming days, Toronto minus 12 by Friday, feeling like minus 19. Okay, so that's getting cold, but colder still on Sunday, with temperatures feeling like the minus mid-20s. That's likely to be the coldest day of this 7-day period. But I'm Sheryl Plouffe with your weather update. What we really have going on is that it's getting a lot colder here across eastern Canada. These are temperatures at about 1.5 kilometers up, but we can see the trend here. It's getting extremely cold. By contrast, in the west, it's warming up with the big ridge of high pressure. It's called an amplified jet stream. When we look further to the north, the wind chills this afternoon are in the minus 20s and minus 40s. We've got a couple of systems, too, headed toward Newfoundland with some nor'easters. And then across the west, we're warming the temperatures up. We have some windy conditions, little clipper system here coming by across southern Ontario and Quebec. I'm Sheryl Plouffe from the Weather Network with your weather update. We have a clipper system that is on the way. It's going to bring some snowfall to us, but notice how southern Ontario gets into what's called the warm sector of the low pressure system. Now, that's not to say it's going to be really all that warm, but all things being relative, and especially compared to the cold air that comes in behind it. How much snow will we get? 5 to 10 centimeters further north of Barrie. South of that toward the GTA, less than 5 centimeters as a result of that lake effect. And keep in mind, Lake Ontario is not entirely frozen over yet, so we still have some available moisture for lake effect. But this is synoptic snow or system snow that's coming in. It's a clipper system from the west. We have what's called the warm sector here, and again, all things being relative, it is a little bit warmer with this low as it comes through, and then the cold air really comes behind this blue line, behind the cold front. We will see 5 to 10 centimeters further north of Barrie. South of that line toward the GTA, Hamilton, less than 5 centimeters of snow. Is that we still are getting, again, an influx of some slightly milder air as the system approaches. But once it comes in behind, we're starting to tap into some extreme cold that's in place in the purples here across northern Ontario, northern Manitoba. And really, eastern Canada is going to be, and central and eastern Canada are dealing with some extreme temperatures the next week at least into March. It's going to be pretty cold. Minus 8 wind chill in Toronto, but notice the cold is coming in, and the coldest day of this 7-day period is right here on Sunday with wind chills in the minus mid-20s. For Hamilton, a little bit of snow to start the weekend as well. Tomorrow's daytime high is minus 2.